It's
Mhm.
great to see the people that I just connect with in person once a year, but really try to find those new things that are going to help you in whatever piece of the industry you're involved in. You know, if it's your a style of fishing that you cater to, that you personally look for, try to look around for those things as you're going.
Mhm.
Because I mean, it could be overwhelming.
All right, y'all. iCast is about 6 weeks away. I feel like this is the single biggest moment of the year for everybody in the fishing business, in the retail or any part of the business. With all the new products, the new brands, new trends, they all land all at once. And the decisions that are made coming out of Orlando will shape the next 12 months of a lot of people's businesses. So today we're going to try to get ahead of it. I'm Angie Thompson. I'm publisher of Fishing Tackle Retailer. And joining me are Toby Lipinski, who is the editor of Fishing Tackle Retailer, and Bobby Thompson, who's the editor of the Fishing Wire. And so I just thought it would be fun if we got together, y'all, and just kind of talked a little bit about what what we think is coming and what we've seen so far this year. Um, in fact, before we start talking about iCast, let's talk about, we're kind of at the midpoint of the year. And so I'm curious from you guys what you've seen this year that has, surprised you. Toby, you probably are the most gear oriented of all of us. But I mean, because you're just one of those gadget guys. But what have you seen this year? What's the new stuff this year that has surprised you?
It's been coming in waves for sure. You know, at times this year it's been overwhelming almost to because there's so much coming through. You know, the last couple of years, sort of coming out of COVID, I didn't see as much legit new stuff, so to
Yeah.
speak. You know, it was a lot of like reworkings and things like that. But now I'm starting to see positive, new, legitimately new products, you know, new product lines, improvements, heavy improvements on existing lines. So I've been really excited about that. I'm looking forward to, you know, over the next couple weeks too, leading into iCast, some of the stuff that's in the works that we kind
Yeah.
of get teased with, you know, to
Yeah.
actually see some of it. But
Yeah.
yeah, that seems to be the big thing, you know, that's been hitting so far is
Yeah.
like big steps forward.
New stuff, legit new stuff, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Bobby, what do you think?
For sure. I mean, I don't know how new some of this stuff is. I'm not near as seasoned as either one of you, but there's a couple I've seen. Any reel, I'm, like, obsessed with looking into. The fishing wire, we get, almost daily updates on new gear dropping, especially the closer we get to iCast, and I definitely think there's some companies that are playing it a little close to the vest. But, one that I really like, the, Abu Garcia's VoltIQ, you know what I'm talking? Remember that one? I
Hmm.
Yeah.
mean, I know people have some, like, anti-backlash tech, like, on the reels, but that one, it looked cool. I mean, it looked like you could really rip that thing, it you know? And I love the concept of it's not running on a battery or anything like that. So it's just kind of tapping into that the energy that's already in the reel, so as it unwinds and stuff like
Okay, I
that.
totally do not understand how that works, how that anti-backlash technology.
Yeah.
You
Yeah, I
talk
want to see it in person. It's pretty high up on my list of like wanting to get under the hood and really see it. But it
Yeah.
seems to be scalable, right? So you can, set it real low, set it real high. It's cool.
How does that work, Toby?
Yeah. I again, I have to see. I read through it, and it was a lot of that stuff for me. It's like I'm reading through it, and I'm like, okay, I get it,
Mm.
and then suddenly I don't until I have it in hand. You know, that's definitely one of the things that is good about iCast is getting to see that stuff in hand that you've been looking at, you've been seeing digitally, you've been seeing teases for. But yeah, that kind of product. I mean, there's been some anti-backlash stuff in the past that was touted as going to save everybody. But I think this one, it looks like it might actually be able to make me cast without getting a backlash.
The real test would be me, y'all.
Yeah.
If anybody spends most of the day picking out backlashes, it's me. But well, hey, I'll tell you what I've noticed that I thought was, and I'm really curious to what you guys think about this, especially in the long term. Is the Kawikis? Is that what they're called? All the little,
It,
they're not
the
new.
urchin baits.
Yeah, the urchin baits.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's
yeah,
right.
yeah,
They're
yeah,
not
yeah, yeah, yeah,
necessarily
yeah, yeah.
new this year, but
Yeah.
I mean, a bunch
No,
came on the
a
scene this
bunch.
year. And
Mhm.
I understand, like, the concept, what I've heard said a lot is that, it just represents a shape that fish haven't seen a lot. and that eventually the fish may become accustomed to it like they do. But I don't know if a fish is that smart, y'all.
I go back and forth. I think if you're in a smaller water body that's really heavily pressured and honestly everyone's using the same thing, they might trend to it, but still, I think instinct's gonna kick in at some point, that feeding side, and they'll like bypass it, you know? Yeah,
Right.
those urchin baits, last year it was the dice, and then they
Yeah.
kind of evolved into the urchin this year. And I've heard so many people almost comically try to explain what the fish thinks it is. That it's, a bait ball, it's a
Yeah,
fry ball, it's a
yeah.
creature. I think it's just a triggering instinct. There's so many little pieces and parts going, and I've seen trout videos where a trout will be in a stream and there's just stuff coming by and they taste everything. And they taste
Right.
this and they spit it out. And if they think it's food, well, then it goes in. If they think it's, organic matter, they can't eat, it goes back out. And to a degree, I think that's more what's at play there. There's
Yeah.
so much going on and they're like, I just got to bite it and see.
Yeah, and I tend to agree with that because I think, like I said, I don't think a fish's brain is really all that big. And I have a very good friend who's a marine biologist and one of the most renowned fly fishing guides down in the Keys. And we would be fishing for tarpon, and I would go, "Why are these tarpon triggered by this little piece of feather?" And he said it was because as fry, they stay fed up near the mangroves, and all this nutrients would come washing out of the mangroves. And as a little tiny fry, they were used to looking up and seeing a certain shape, and it would be food. And so, if you could float something over their heads that was around that same shape, profile, color, it would just trigger. They're not even really consciously doing it. They're just triggered to bite it. What do y'all think? It sounds like a good theory.
I I
I,
think it
I,
makes
I think
sense.
Yeah, I think there's a piece of it might also, I've done it a million times. We try to come up with reasons why we're being outsmarted by this thing with a little teeny
Uh,
pea brain. So we
right.
try to put so
Yeah.
much more into it.
And
I think it's a
we
bit of
know we can
everything.
condition them so easily. I mean, I did a science experience in 5th grade where I had a little fish tank fish, and I'd literally just, like, kick a light on and feed him every day, like the little Pavlov type experiment, and then after a week, I could just turn the light on and he'd come right to the top of the tank, you know? So, I think it makes a lot of
Mhm.
sense that
Yeah.
kinda born into them patterns of behaviors. I mean,
Yeah.
checks out to me.
Okay, so is there anything happening in the fishing world right now that has not surprised you that you could have predicted last year?
Mm.
Not trying to go down any kind of, I don't want to drag him back through the mud, but is there anything that has not surprised you?
I haven't hit anything yet. No,
Well,
without stepping on any toes, no.
yes, I probably shouldn't have asked that question because it's really not fair. But
Well, and it's like this industry, like a lot, they thrive on incremental growth, right? So they
yeah,
put out iterations of these things and the marginal improvements. So I think some of that stuff, like to use reels again, is it's like, growth by 100 meters is pretty rare. Growth by an inch, 2 inches, So I've seen a lot of that.
Guess one thing could be, as we were just saying, there's urchin baits popping up everywhere.
Hmm.
A lot of brands, excuse me, are jumping on that. And I don't, that's not really a negative, I guess, because you see there's a trend in the industry that anglers are buying, shops are buying. So you want to be able to provide that. You want to be able to provide your piece of it, your improvements on it. So I guess that could be something I'm not terribly surprised with, that those are popping up left and right because they have become popular.
yeah. What's the biggest story in fishing retail right now that you don't think is getting enough attention? Toby?
Oh, that's a tough one because I think if we start to say what isn't getting enough attention, we're looking at ourselves because we're bringing the news to everybody. We're bringing the stories,
Good
and
point.
I
Good
think we do a
point.
pretty good job of
Yeah,
covering it
you're
all.
right, you're right. There's nothing out there that's not getting enough attention, right, Bobby? We're giving them all
100%.
the attention.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, I tell you what, I think there is one thing that maybe is not getting enough attention from retailers, and that is how they could use AI.
I was I was gonna say it, but I didn't want to drag us down a rabbit hole. Yeah, I mean, I agree. I
Bobby
definitely
is our
agree.
resident AI expert here at Fishing Tackle Retailer and the Fishing Wire, and then really, Toby, I don't know if you've seen all the stuff that he's been doing, but he's doing some pretty sophisticated stuff that I think can really help us, and in the long run, eventually, it's gonna help, when everybody kinda understands this better, I think it'll help retailers too, don't you, Bobby?
Yeah, I definitely do. And it's such a big topic and I'm really looking for it's the one conversation I'm really looking forward to having at iCast. I hope that I can talk with as many people are willing to listen to me about it. There's a lot of people that are doing good work in that space already. But just in a sentence, I would say to anybody that's looking to maybe understand the topic a little bit better, a good starting point is understanding that the when people are talking about AI and how it works and how it's going to affect your business is this it's a new system and it's a new technology. A lot of the infrastructure of the internet is changing. And that's why I think it feels so important to get in early and get in now because the all the plugins and all the nuts and bolts of what you're working with or have been working with over the last 20 years, maybe more, fundamentally doesn't they're two completely different systems, you know? So that's what we've taken the last few months to really deep dive into, and I would really encourage, anybody if if your business is online, you should study up on this stuff, and, I'd love to talk to anybody about it.
You'll be available at iCast,
Yeah,
right?
I'll be available. I'm there.
Well, and really kind of what we're talking about there is optimizing your content so that it is found by AI engines
Yes. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's
when
exactly
people
right.
are
Because
asking,
if you're yeah, if you're on, your general SEO is great and it's still gonna get you placement, but it's not gonna get you cited with the AI crawlers because they don't really have the same access to the same they don't work the same. So
yeah,
there is a way that you can set your site up to get those citations and stuff, and that's hopefully what we'll talk more about soon.
yeah, yeah, we'll have to do a whole
It
episode on that. Go
Yeah.
ahead,
it's
Toby.
it's definitely it's one of those things too that you can never you can never start too soon learning about it because every day that you are not investigating, looking into it, seeing what it can do for you, how can it help you, that's one day further you're behind than your neighbor, your competition, your friends, everybody else, because that's where it's going. I mean,
Yeah,
Yep.
and it's going so quick and so far so quickly that
Mhm.
you miss a day, you've missed a week, you know?
yeah, that is the truth. Okay, so what are you guys looking forward to iCast? What do you guys think will dominate the new product showcase this year? I mean, I know that's a silly question to really even ask, but I guess what I'm asking is, I shouldn't say dominate, but we've already starting to see some things come out with people. We'll start seeing a lot of announcements right before iCast of, products that are going in there. Um, I kind of think there might be something really cool this year that uses AI. Have Because I don't really think we've seen that in the new product showcase too much, have we?
It's tough to get the
Mhm.
digital side of things in the new product
Yeah.
showcase, how it can
Yeah.
incorporate it into the products. I'm sure someone watching, listening to this is like, that's what I'm working at. You just wait
Yeah,
and see. So,
yeah. I mean, I've always wondered, like, if you could, all the technology that goes into all of the sonar and electronics technology, I don't know if they're using AI, but somewhere I just feel like somebody's going to kind of put some things together that aren't currently working together, if that makes any sense, and
Mm.
using AI to do it and make a big jump in. Although we've
Yeah.
had big jumps recently, the forward-facing sonar is a big jump in technology,
Mhm.
and I really don't know, honestly, y'all, how much further we need to go in in terms of jumping in
Yeah.
technology,
Yeah.
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 but
For
is there
sure.
anything else you guys have heard about or heard rumors about that you're looking forward to seeing at the new product showcase?
Again, there's a few things that we've seen digitally. We get hit with so much stuff in these weeks and months leading up that I really like just seeing that stuff finally in person. But what I mean, my the most exciting thing for me that first night when the new product showcase opens up and media is walking around that first see, I love the legitimate surprises, the stuff that comes out of left field that I had no idea someone was working on, and then you see, if I find something, I try to watch it I walk
Yeah.
away and to see
Mhm.
other people's expressions when they see it and have that same feeling of, "This is amazing," or "Why didn't I think of that?" So I that's one part of the new product showcase. You can't really describe what it's gonna be, but there's going to be some things that night and then through the rest of iCast that just you legitimately blow people away we didn't see coming, and those I find exciting. Those are the things I take the picture of, and I'm sending, shooting a text off to my friends and tackle shops like, "You this thing is here. You gotta find out when this comes out. You're gonna need this in the shop," things
Yeah.
like that I like seeing.
Yeah. Bobby, you've been going for a couple of years. Was there, have can you think of a something that you saw in the new product showcase in the last couple of years that really just sort of blew you away like that, what like Toby's talking about?
Mm, no. That
No?
kayak last year was pretty cool. The
Oh, God.
little
It
propulsion
was
kayak.
amazing.
Yeah,
Yes.
I
Golly, that
needed one of those a few weeks ago. Um, yeah, but no, I mean, I think Toby's right. I mean, it's more of a, you look forward to that moment, where you do discover something new. And I've seen there's always plenty of cool stuff, so it might be hard to kind of peg down like what it's going to be right now, but um, I know there's some surprises out there, so I'm just looking forward to
yeah.
seeing what they got.
What do y'all
Mhm.
think, if somebody has never been to iCast before and they're going, what kind of advice would you give them about, how to really make the most of their time there?
It for me, it's been, almo 15, 18 years since my first iCast, but I still look back at how overwhelming it was to me that first time through, and I think I didn't appreciate it as much I was trying to do too much personally on my first attendance. I think,
Yeah.
take day 1, just sort of take it in. Get the lay of the land, see what's going on, and look, I try to do this now, really try to spend more time with new stuff. It's
Mhm.
great to see people, see the people that I just connect with in person once a year, but really try to find those new things that are going to help you in whatever piece of the industry you're involved in. If it's your a style of fishing that you cater to, that you personally look for, try to look around for those things as you're going.
Mhm.
Because I mean, it could be overwhelming. I'm sure, Bobby, you could attest to that. Your first couple of years doing it now.
Yeah, for sure. It's a lot, and I don't think I could give better advice than that. I mean, that's really a great way to say it. It's like find the new stuff, take that deep dive into whatever your little niche is, whatever your yeah, and look for the new stuff, and you know, grab beers after you're done with your friends.
Yeah, social time is during social hour.
Yeah.
Well, I think what I would say is, don't, I mean, the booths can kinda overwhelm you because some of the booths are so spectacular and so, you just wanna, kinda look around at everything, right? And you definitely need to do that, but also don't sleep on the 10 by 10s, go to the
Mhm.
part of the show where the smaller mom and pops
Mhm.
are, I've said this so many times, but I just love that aspect of iCast where, somebody has made something basically in their garage, right? Or at their kitchen table, and they are so excited about finally getting to iCast, and they've spent all their saved up all their money, and they're coming this one time, and or hopefully more in the future. But I just love those kinds of products because they just remind me, I think, of sort of what our industry is about, and it's an interesting contrast between these big huge booths that have something for everybody, and then this one little guy 10 by 10 with a table and and his product laid out there, and he wants to tell you all
Mhm.
about it.
Yeah, those are definitely some of the most exciting booths to visit and talk with the people and learn the story behind how that product, like you're saying, came from this idea in their head to tinkering in their garage to testing it on the water to being on the floor of the biggest fishing trade show on earth. I mean, it can be an amazing story just getting that from some of these individuals at ICAST.
Totally, right. Okay, next question I had queued up for y'all. Oh, okay. Beyond new products, what conversations do you think will be happening on the show floor and in the hallways this year without giving away, what you know?
I wrote down AI even before we started mentioning. I think that's going to
This
be
yeah, this was the
a thing.
question that I was gonna jump in on AI. I mean, I think they'll be talking
Yeah.
about it heavily. Um, and to kinda tie in even with the last question, I think you asked about, like, somebody going for the first time, and I was thinking about someone visiting, but, like, as someone that's, like you said, paid the money to be there, you know, iCast itself, these AI tools, it can be so hard to compete against a company that has really deep resources because they have so much control and so much, the staff and man. And anyhow, iCast is a place where you can get some market share, where you can get some visibility, and that's so important. There's so many people that make amazing products. It's not just the big guys. So that's I think at its core, what's great about iCast is, the whole industry's there. You've got the attention, the floor's yours, and you can really make your case in a way that would be much harder to do outside of that trade show. And I think AI, that's my feelings towards AI right now too, is that right now, a lot of these tools aren't wicked expensive. You know what I mean? Like you can go and find, whether it's Claude, whether it's Chat GPT, whether it's, you know, optimizing perplexity, all these things. We're not talking about softwares that cost thousands of dollars. You know what I mean?
Right.
And we're super early on to the advancement of this. Most people don't have this infrastructure and schema like set up. So like as a small to mid-sized business, I mean, you can punch way above your weight class right now. And that's where we come in. If we do our job with these AI tools that we're developing, we can help get you that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You don't have to do this by yourself. You can come talk to us, talk to Sid. There's people that can help you set this stuff up. And Fishing Tackle Retailer and the Fishing Wire is here to help get you, that placement, the
Right.
citation.
Right.
So don't
And
wait.
what
Be
you
early.
mentioned Sid, that's Sid Dobrin, who
Yeah.
is
Sorry. Shout out to
he's
Sid.
one of our contributors and also just like
Hmm.
the AI master of the fishing world
Hmm.
and beyond. I mean, and beyond the fishing
Yeah. Yeah.
world. He was the chair of the English department, I think, at the University of Florida. He's taking a sabbatical right now because he started an AI lab there, if I'm not mistaken,
Hmm.
a long, good bit ago. And so he became an expert really quick. And now he's taken a sabbatical and is doing a lot of traveling, doing a lot of speaking, and also doing a lot of consulting for people. And he's
Yeah.
one of our buddies here at
Hmm.
FDR. Okay, so I'm gonna switch gears just a little bit here and talk a little bit about FTR. And I just, it seems kind of self-serving to say this, but I feel like with the three of y'all or the three of us here together, it's a good topic of conversation. But what if you had to boil it down in a nutshell for for our users and listeners, um, what how would you explain what they can get from FTR and the fishing wire that they really can't get anywhere else? Toby, I'll let you take that first.
Well, I'll touch on the fishing wire for
Yeah.
one
Oh,
thing that I always appreciate, and I know they're not just saying it. So many people throughout the industry, from local retailers that I see when I go to my shops in the area and I talk to them, to talking to people at the ASA Summit, at ICAST, so many people really look to the fishing wire to start their days, and they appreciate
Mhm.
that we're hitting them with the news, the new products. We're hitting them with general interest stuff, that variety, and I've really been pleasantly surprised how many people really look to the wire every day. It's like they pour their coffee and they hit the fishing wire, and
um,
they get what they need to get their day started. And if they want more, maybe then they'll pop over to FTR to find out more deeper product information or see if there's additional stuff from those brands, what have you. So it's I see it as a good jumping off point for a lot of individuals in the industry.
yeah.
Across the industry, all different levels of it. So
Yeah, I agree, Bobby. You're doing a great job there, Toby. That
yes.
Thank you.
used to be more of your job, but and then also I would say that with fishing tackle retailer, um, you know, the I don't know how a retailer could get the news without us. Does that make sense? I mean, I don't
Mhm.
mean to blow our own horn, but I mean, we are so focused on trying to help them, right? I mean, from the stories that we publish about products, which is, the backbone of what we do, is really introduce everybody to what's new, but also the contributors we have that really give really good advice and stories for retailers on other aspects of their business besides just the buying part.
Mhm.
We have stories. We have articles on merchandising. We have articles on AI. We have, Dave Dave Krantz,
Cranes.
Dave
Yes.
Krantz, and who does a retailer's point of view or perspective every week. Um, I just feel, and Stephanie Badalero, who is a great contributor, who just started with us, who used to be with the Recreational Boating and Fishing Foundation until it was sort of shuttered. But she has such a deep background in research that I think she just has a really great perspective on how to keep new people coming into the industry, because she just really devoted herself to that for 20 years at the
Mhm.
RBFF. So, she's another great contributor. But, yeah, I just feel like, again, I don't want to blow our own horn too much, but, I don't know how
Let's
you do.
blow it. It's fine.
Well, it's a you can, for instance, you could find, let's take the merchandising type topic. You could find information on the internet and looking around, but it doesn't gear directly anywhere else to a fishing tackle retailer. So you sort of have to take, industry input from, or input from other industries, excuse me, whereas we're taking it and we're putting it right here. Okay, you have a tackle shop. Here's a good way to maximize your tackle shop sales. So you're not having to convert, translate it to your
Yeah.
speak. We have it there. Like, that's one of the things that I really do try to look for in the articles that we're running, that it takes stuff that can be a more general, broader stroke, and focus it down to how it's actually going to help our retailers out there. So again, they don't have to translate it from, golf talk to fishing talk, or from, sandwich shop talk to fishing shop. It's already there. So I
Yeah.
think, you're not going to
Uh,
find that anywhere else.
yeah. I agree. And I mean, we have fishing tackle retailers are this is I want to say this so often. So like I guess like you said, we're plugging ourselves. So fishing tackle retailer has inherited good work for like years. We're deeply entrenched in the industry. And what I want to say so many times is like in conversations around like advertising and marketing, we have this like standard set of language that just I don't really feel like captures what our business does the best. And what we have is decades of targeting owners. You know, if you're working with us, your stories are reaching these retailers, these owners of businesses. Our list is so important to us. So I would say anybody that's thinking about like what we're doing, know that we have the ability to target decision makers like no other, company does. And I have seen everybody in this business, you guys are so passionate about helping people start up their businesses, doing even we can accommodate any budget. And I would say that in business in general, like you're gonna need some help, you know what I mean? And having doing business with us means that and, I have seen Angie pick up the phone so many times and make a connection and make a phone call for somebody that they never, and it's not about the money, just doing some amount of business with us can take you so far, because at the end of the day, all we want to do is help you grow. And I know that anybody here would pick up that phone, make that call, do, whatever it is, because I've seen it happen time and time again,
Yeah.
you know?
Well, it's funny
So,
because you kinda made a shift there. Toby was really talking about, retailers who are
yeah.
listening, but you were talking about the people in the business who are listening, but they're both our customers. I
Yeah.
mean, we actually really do try to serve both equally well,
Mhm.
because I feel like it's a unique place for us to be where we sit in between, the manufacturers and the guys on the floor, and,
Yeah. That's
you
kinda
can't
yeah.
you can't
Yeah.
really discount either one of them. They're both sort of weighted, in equally in my mind. We wanna serve both of them well, right? Because
Mhm.
it serves us well to get our advertisers and our partners' message out right. And if we
Right.
get their message out right, it helps the retail buyers and the people on the standing in the
Yeah.
aisle, you
Yeah.
know?
That's
So,
yeah.
um, I think that's a great part of our business. All right, we're gonna about to wrap it up in just a second, but I'm okay. I got one more, and I hope we can come up with some interesting stuff here. I should have given y'all more time, but what's the one question you wish people would ask you and they don't ever ask you?
Mm.
'Cause, we all get a lot of questions about our job, like if I'm if
Mhm.
I'm on an airplane, and I try not to ever tell people what I do when I'm on an airplane because then they wanna talk a lot, and so, that's not true. I do end up talking to a lot of people, but there are times when I'm in meetings or when I'm talking to readers or users, or tackle shop owners that I think, I wish that you would ask me uh, I think for me, it's probably, I wish we wish people would say, "I wish you would publish more than 7 times a year."
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm good with 7.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you are probably good with 7. But is there anything there, y'all? Did I turn over any rocks for you?
I think just starting conversations, starting the conversation about what we've seen from our perspective, both locally when we are out and about on the street, because all of us are in this industry, both personally as well
Mhm.
as business. So
Right.
maybe some of that, what have you seen, for instance, I'm in New England, that perhaps someone in Texas or California might not be thinking about.
That's
Some
great.
some of the stuff that we're seeing locally that they can apply, they can use, because I do see that what works or what is utilized, for instance, by shops on one region, I mean, even just state to state, town to town, it changes a lot. So just that kind of conversation, get us started. What are some of those things? What works for shops in my region that might be able to assist other regions, other retailers throughout the country?
I agree with
Yeah.
that. I agree with that. It's all fishing is regional, but it's amazing to me how some things I'll tell you a great example. Down here now, Toby, when y'all are surf fishing in the Northeast, do y'all use Sputniks?
Oof, not too
Mm.
much anymore. I used them when I was younger, and they were more popular for sure, but they don't have a big following nowadays.
Well, we down here, there you don't see
Ooh,
anybody
it's like
go with and I think
they're
I
on
wonder
every rig.
they are on every rig, and they're, because I think maybe because the way we surf fish is not as active
Mhm.
probably as what you do, Toby, because we just, kinda cast out, get our line out there, and then wait. And in the surf, here that Sputnik really helps it to dig in and stay in one place. But I'm always curious, why other people don't use it. Why is it just used here?
Yeah, we definitely do some of that. Like, I remember when I was little, when I was really little, first surf fishing, my dad and I would pour lead, make jigs and sinkers and stuff, and I still have some around. We would make like our homemade version of the Sputnik sinker with, the little shot of lead and a brass wire and little legs going off of it. So it's
Right.
definitely something that doesn't get used as much, but that's a good example. Something, even just something like that, a product that is used in a certain region that doesn't have that growth out to other regions yet. It could
Yeah.
certainly work in any type of fishing, or even crossover styles from fresh to salt. There's so much of that kind of stuff. So those conversations can be really good for anyone, to
Yeah.
get into more than, what are you catching back on? Well, no, no. What are you using? What are the tactics? What
Yeah.
techniques? What kind of things that you're using that then can be applied into the business side of things? Because like that, the Sputnik sinkers, they sell like crazy your way. Probably not too many shops around here are offering them, but I'm sure they'd sell.
Yeah. Bobby, do you have anything there?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I mean, I wish I could talk to more people. I wish that I got a greater volume of conversations with businesses where I could find out kind of like what their pain points are. Because we're so good at coming up with solutions, and we're super creative, and we can scale up. We've got a lot of data, we've got a lot of information. So I wish people would ask me more about like, you know, what we do besides just print the magazine.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Because we do a lot.
And also how we can help them with their specific problems, like their
Yeah, like
specific
yeah.
challenges. We have a
Mhm.
lot of levers we can pull, and even from both sides, from the
Yep.
users, from our audience to our advertising partners. We have a lot of levers that we can pull. We have a lot of control that we can change how we present something if it works better in
Mhm.
for somebody else. So
Mhm.
that's an interesting one. I like that. Well, speaking of that, you can contact Bobby at editor@thefishingwire.com. You can contact Toby at fishingtackleretailer.com, and you can contact me at Angie at fishingtackleretailer.com. And we really do, at least I do. I love hearing from people. So
Yeah.
Mhm.
anytime if you have thoughts, ideas, or just questions about how we do things, or suggestions about what we could do that would serve you better. We'd love to hear
Mhm.
it. I'm sure you guys agree with me on that.
Absolutely.
100%.
All right,
Yep.
thanks, fellas. I appreciate your time, and I will see you again soon. Sooner probably than you like.
Thanks.
We'll see ya.